guys, it's Jessie and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to today's video where we're going to be talking through all of my 2022 reading stats. Before we do so, I'm going to just have to politely ask everyone to ignore the fringe. I don't know what's happened to it today. Normally it's fine, but today it's decided to curl. I don't have my straighteners with me, and I genuinely, I don't have any words. I actually can't look at myself in the viewfinder. It's so bothersome to me. But yeah, it's decided to flick to the side slightly and not sit where it normally sits without looking like that. So we are just gonna have to ignore it. Thank you everyone so much. So sorry about that. We are just gonna move on and pretend it's not happening. So today we're going through my stats for 2022. I've got both the Storygraph and the Goodreads ones. I'm gonna start with Goodreads because they're more vague, I guess, not really as fleshed out as the Storygraph ones. I actually can't stop playing my hair. But yeah, so we have slightly differing numbers for both of them, which is interesting. But I'm going to do a separate video chatting kind of about my reading goals for 2023. I think that'll be kind of fun. But yeah, in this video I'm just going to be going through the stats. I find these so satisfying, so I thought I might as well do a little video of my own. This probably won't be too long because obviously we haven't got tons to share. Okay, so we've got my stats here. So as you can see, we've got my 2022 year in books. This year I read supposedly 102 books. I thought it was 101. I don't know where that extra one has come from. And 3,365 pages according to Goodreads. I don't know whether because it was updated January 1st. I finished a book basically at 1:30 in the morning on the 1st of January, so I don't know whether that's what's throwing it off. But I normally read about 100 pages per hour, so that means that I will have read for about 333 hours this year, which is a lot. How many is that in days? 333 hours to days. I spent 13, nearly 14 days reading this year straight, so that is intense. Anyway, my shortest book was Randomised by Andy Weir. This was a little short story from the Forward collection. It was only 28 pages and I didn't really like it. And my longest book was Darling Venom, which was 712 pages, which I loved. This was so good. Absolutely obsessed with it. My average book length in 2022 was 327 pages. That's pretty average for me. Obviously, it's literally statistics. Most Shelved, Seven Husbands, Lemon and Hugo, love that one. Obviously a very famous BookTok book. And Killer in the Snow was just one that I kind of picked up. I didn't have it recommended and I gave it 3 stars. It was fine. But I still think 4,000 people, that's like a decent amount. That's not super underground. Average rating for 2022 is 3.5. Again, kind of makes sense. I was really kind of coming into my own this year with reading. It was kind of the first full year that I'd been into reading again since I was a kid. And yeah, I think I was reading all over the place, so it makes sense that it's 3.5. I'm hoping to get it quite close to 4 this year. I'm really hoping for some really good reads, but we will see because I am going to be doing some random TBR videos where I don't necessarily get to pick the books, so that'll be interesting. Highest rated on Goodreads was Heartstopper Volume 4, which I didn't love, but it was okay. I understand why it's super popular. The first review of the year was One Last Stop. This isn't the first book that I rated, just the first time I actually wrote a little review, and I didn't like that one. And then my 2022 in books, you can see here all the books that I read in 2022. This is about August, and then it really picks up because there's so many more in the latter half of the year. And then my last review of the year was The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and here it says I've read 101 books, so I'm not too sure. Anyway, next we're going to move on to Storygraph because they often have kind of more overall stats. So this is my reading wrap up from them. I will quickly look through afterwards my other stats because I think they show extra bits. But yeah, this one says 33,827 pages, whereas this one said 365. So there's like a 500 page difference. I think Storygraph is probably more accurate because on there I can pick the specific edition of the book that I'm reading and whether it was an audiobook, stuff like that. So my first book of the year was November 9th. My last book was In Glad My Mum Died, and I listened to that as an audiobook. Here we've got a mood map of my reading. I'm not too sure what that means. I guess, okay, so kind of like whether they're happy or not, I guess, the books, kind of like the vibes. That makes sense. Kind of towards the end of the year I was reading a lot of Christmassy romances, kind of rom-coms type things. I don't know why I got so dark in June, but whatever. Felt All the Fields, Kept It Light, Went to Dark Places, and most of the stories developed at a steady pace. Books, I kind of went off in August, I can't lie. I do not know what I was thinking. I read nearly 8,000 pages in August. That is a little bit mad. But yeah, as you can see, we had a little bit of a dip from kind of May to June when I was traveling. I only read 2 books there. I think I read 2 books here and 1 book, if that. Really not too much. because I was traveling. I met my Goodreads goal, and my main genres were romance, obviously, contemporary young adult and thriller, and LGBTQ. That's interesting, because I guess the Heartstopper ones really popped that up, because I didn't necessarily pick out books for that reason. This year I do want to read a lot more diversely, but I'm still glad that that's one of my top genres. Romance, obviously, 70 romance books. I was very much a romance girly at the start of the year and basically up until December, and now I'm kind of trying to branch out a bit, which is exciting. Contemporary, of course, 53, young adult 24, thriller 14. I expect that to be a lot bigger this year. Longest book, again, Darling Venom and also Randomised is my shortest. Average length was 327. It took me about 11 days to finish each book. That's not entirely accurate, I don't think, just because I am much more active on my Goodreads than my Storygraph, but I do really want this year to get more active on there, so these stats will be more accurate next year. Least time was Reminds of Him, which took like a day. Some other mistakes, I took 131 days to read. I've always talked about how the last half of this book is so slow. Authors I read the most from: Colleen Hoover. I aimed to read all her books this year, and I did. I read 21 Colleen Hoover books, 5 St. Abbey books, and 5 Tahira Mafi books. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but this is the Mindfuck series and this is Shatter Me. Average rating was 3.58. This is again going to be more accurate than my Goodreads one, just because you can give 0.25, 5 and 7.5 star ratings on Storygraph. Then my 5-star reads this year were these. I got a lot more, I think, picky towards the end of the year. I didn't have a lot of 5-star reads. I've already had in 2022 3 5-star reads, I believe, which is a lot more, I think, hopefully, than last year, so hopefully we'll have more. This is how my ratings kind of spanned out: 3 1-star, 1 1.25, 1 1.5, 2 1.75, 9 2 stars, 1 2.25, 3 2.75s, 15 3 stars. I find it so satisfying that these are all 15. I don't know why, but I clearly obviously like to keep it on the numbers if I can. 6 3.25, 6 3.5, 8 3.75s, obviously 15 4 stars, 3 4.25s, 5 4.5s, 8 4.75s, and 15 5 stars, which is good. 15 is a good number, I think. And then in April, my highest average rating was 4.88 stars. That is extremely high. Jesus, what books did I read in April? Oh, I only read like 1 book, I think, or 2 books, so that was probably two 5 stars and a 4-star, I guess, but that is insanely high. And March wasn't a favorite month, with an average rating of 3.07. That is low, but again, I didn't read very many books that month, so that kind of makes sense. Most pages read in August, again, I popped off so hard in August, I don't know why. I read 7,578 pages. That is a lot, but to be fair, I wasn't in school and I wasn't traveling, so I had a lot of time to read. Most shelved, yes, Killer in the Snow, and least shelved is this one, because Storygraph's even less popular than Goodreads. 300,293. Most popular is I'm Glad My Mum Died. Again, I gave this 5 stars. Did read some things that were different to your normal picks, and I hated it. This was my worst book of the year. I read 53 works of new authors. Let's have a look at what these ones were. So these are all my new to me authors. A lot because, again, I didn't read much. So we've got Kristen Hanna. I'm not going to actually read all of these through because that would take so long. But yeah, you can see all of the new authors to me this year. There is a lot. We're going to keep going. I'm just going to do this very quickly. This is probably getting very boring, but we're going through. The Appeal was so good. Convenient Storewoman, one of my favourite. Sayaka Murata was definitely a probably favourite author that I found this year. Absolutely love her stuff. I've got a short story collection that I still need to read from her, which I'm very excited for. And then we go, Tessa Bailey was new to me and I didn't like her, so we'll see. Anyway, including Parker S. Hunterton, Emily St. John Mandel, Elena Armas, and then 57 books I read were part of a series. I think I'm going to try and get through more of the series that I've started next year. Some of these are like Love Like Farms, they're more like interconnected standalones, so they don't really count. Oh, a lot of Colleen Hoover's, yeah, and some of these I won't continue with. Oh yeah, all of Heartstopper and the Forward collection, that makes sense. Okay, so these are obviously all the series I read this year. The Fletcher, oh, that's like a that's got a like tiny like 10-page prequel or something, so I guess that kind of counts. Then it was only new stories and ideas, no rereads. I do want to reread a couple books next year, and I finished all of the books I picked up this year with no DNFs. And then you can see my 2022 at a glance again here. So I mean, my stats, again, we've kind of gone through this before, but just some more little graphs for you guys. You can see the full kind of mood board for me, mainly emotional and lighthearted, and funny and dark and tense. So kind of a weird mix there. Pace wise, mainly fast and medium pace. I don't like slow paced books. Page number, this kind of tracks. I do think I'll probably end up reading more variety this year because I like a lot of short books. I've got quite a few like little short books on my TBR, and I also want to read longer books like the ACOTAR series and stuff. Mainly fiction, that makes sense. Here's the full breakdown of all my genres. There's a lot, I won't go through them all. Format, I do expect this also to be more mixed. I'm actually tracking this myself, and whether I do kind of mixed media, so audiobook and physical book, or print and all that stuff. So this I'll have a proper chart for next year. Most read authors, you can see Lauren Asher's on here too. I actually don't know why Lauren Asher wasn't in my wrap up like with these. Soseman, Holly Jackson, Tessa Bailey, Christina Lauren, Taylor Jenkins Reid, Daniel Laurie. All the books are in English. You saw this one before, and then average rating. So those are my statistics from all my little kind of book tracking apps. Goodreads, Storygraph. I'll leave links to my Goodreads and my Storygraph in the description if you guys do want to check me out. Next year I'm really excited to have kind of some more detailed stats that I'm going to be tracking myself. But yeah, 13, nearly 14 days, that's like 2 weeks straight of reading I've done, which I mean doesn't sound like a lot when I think about it, but like the actual amount of time is a lot. So yeah, I really hope you guys did enjoy seeing my statistics. I know this was a bit of a shorter video, but I hope you found it interesting. I have a lot of reading goals for 2022 that I will chat to you guys about. I believe next weekend that video is coming out. So yeah, I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like down below. Hit subscribe, turn the bell to join our little club. Make sure you turn on all notifications, then you'll be notified every single time I post a new video. If you want to watch my other videos, there'll be 2 on the screen now to pick from, as well as a linked up in the cards from earlier. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!